The best mirrorless camera can be different things to different people. Obviously, it means one thing if I want to take holiday snaps, and another if I want to film a documentary. So the best tool for the job really depends on the job, which is why this guide is divided into different use cases. I own and use a lot of different cameras, but for my money, the best mirrorless camera overall is probably the Canon EOS R7, an APS-C powerhouse with all the punch of a full-frame camera, combined with all the advantages of a cropped sensor. Again, it has particular pros and cons depending on what you use it for, but it's the most adaptable camera on this list in the overlapping Venn diagram of price, performance, and portability. My advice is to work out what you actually need from your camera, and then click on the relevant link in our menu. Want something for vlogging? For wildlife? Something for beginners? These recommendations are pitched accordingly. I'm lucky enough to have played with every camera on this list, and the DCW team has reviewed and lab tested each one according to its specialism, so you can be sure that you're being recommended the best mirrorless camera for you. We have listed the top 5 best mirrorless cameras 2024, and their key features you need to consider this to help you choose the best one for you. For more information on the product, as always, I've included a link in the description box down below, which are updated with the best prices on each product. Like the video, comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Be sure to stay tuned till the end so you don't miss anything. Now let's get started. Number 5. Canon EOS R10. Best value. Canon's EOS R10 brings a sub-$1,000 entry-level 24mm APS-C camera to its mirrorless RF lineup, hoping to entice a new generation of photographers and videographers to ditch the smartphone in favor of greater creative control over exposure, focal lengths, and burst rates in their image making. The R10 is for the weekend traveler who wants a throw-in-the-bag and it just works camera, the family gatherings documentarian who wants to be ready for the video of their kids playing in the park as well as the family portrait with the grandparents, the vlogger who wants to create selfies and videos at arm's length, and the beginner who wants to start learning with manual controls. The EOS R10 is available body-only for a recommended selling price of $979. Kit options include bundles with the compact, collapsible 1845mm f4.5 6.3, IS-STM for $1099, or with the 18150mm 5.6.3, IS-STM for around $1379. Canon says the sensor is a new chip it's never used before, but has not given any details of how it's changed. We know of instances in the past where Canon has squeezed a bit more out of an existing design by moving to a new production line that uses a finer process scale, higher precision fabrication of the circuitry, but we'll have to wait to see how the sensor works in practice. Number 4. Panasonic Lumix S52 for filmmakers. The Panasonic Lumix DC S53 is the company's latest version of its mid-range full-frame stills and video mirrorless camera. It adds phase detection autofocus to its 24mm CMOS sensor and uses the L mount shared with Leica and Sigma. The biggest news is the inclusion of on-sensor phase detection, a technology Panasonic has not previously used. Phase detection works by generating 2 views of the scene from slightly different perspectives, typically by forming separate images that look through the left and right sides of the lens and comparing them. Just as with human vision, which uses 2 eyes set apart from one another, this enables the camera to establish an understanding of distance and depth in the scene. Comparing the 2 images lets the camera calculate how far it needs to drive focus to bring the 2 perspectives into alignment, at which point the aligned subject is in focus. This is especially valuable in video mode, as it allows the camera to refocus to a different distance without overshooting. It also critically means the camera can check that it's still in focus without having to move the lens. This means phase detection can be decisive in situations where it must hold focus, as it can confidently stay there. Previous Panasonic models relied on the company's depth from defocus (DFD) system, which used the out-of-focus characteristics of a lens to interpret depth and drive the AF system. DFD's main shortcoming was reliably predicting movement and driving the AF system to match. In principle, phase detect autofocus should provide more reliable performance, particularly in low light levels and backlit conditions, and when dealing with multiple subjects, staying locked on your chosen subject better because it knows which one in the scene it is. Number 3. Canon EOS R6 Mark II for content creators. The Canon EOS R6 II is a 24-megapixel full-frame camera aimed at enthusiast photographers and video shooters. It may look identical to its predecessor on the outside, but it gains useful new features for stills and video while providing a refined shooting experience. The headline new feature of the R6 II is a new 24.2 megapixel full-frame sensor, up from 20 megapixel in the original R6. That's not a massive increase in effective resolution, but it does allow the R6 II to match the resolution of many popular enthusiast cameras. As is typical for EOS bodies, the new sensor is designed and manufactured by Canon. However, despite being the same size and resolution as the sensor in Canon's current flagship, the R3, it's neither a BSI nor a stacked sensor. Despite this, Canon says rolling shutter performance is still improved relative to the sensor in the R6. It's capable of burst rates up to 40 FPS with the electronic shutter, though the camera drops to 12-bit readout to achieve this. The original R6 could capture UHD 4K 60p video, but with a couple of limitations. It forced a slight crop, 1.07x, from the full width of the sensor, and video in all modes was capped at 30 minutes per clip. The new model improves in both areas while adding some exciting new features. Number 2. Nikon Z8 Premium. The Nikon Z8 is a mid-sized, high-end, full-frame mirrorless camera built around the same sensor and processor as the range-topping Z9 sports camera. The Z8 offers the majority of the same features, but in a smaller body. In almost every respect, the Z8 is a match for the Z9, with essentially all the larger camera's features and capabilities duplicated in a smaller body. At the heart of it all is the same 45.7mm PP stacked CMOS sensor that has parallel readout paths, one for images or video and another to provide the viewfinder feed with minimal lag. This means it can match the Z9's 20 FPS shooting rate with RAW, and its 30 FPS full-frame JOC 60 FPS APS-C 120 FPS 11MP JPEG shooting modes. The Z8 also provides the option to shoot 10-bit HEIF files, alongside RAW if you wish, if you opt to capture HDR images using the HLG curve. The Z8 also offers the pre-burst option that lets it start capturing images when the shutter is half pressed, then record up to a second's worth of images when you fully press the shutter. This is available in the 30, 60, and 120 FPS JPEG modes. We're told the Z8 has the same buffer as the Z9, meaning it can record more than 1,000 JPEGs, or HE, compressed RAWs at 20 FPS. 685 of the less compressed HE RAWs can be captured in a burst, or 79 of the losslessly compressed RAWs files. Like the Z9, with its fast 1280 sec readout, the Z8 has no mechanical shutter. It does have a shutter shield mechanism that can be set to close when the camera is off, though, to prevent dust ingress when you change lenses. Number 1. Sony Alpha 7 IVA, best 2024 model. The Sony A7 IV is the best hybrid mirrorless camera you can buy right now. A truly modern all-rounder that largely justifies its price tag, it packs class-leading autofocus, impressive image quality, and powerful video features into one versatile body. Dedicated street or sports photographers should look elsewhere, and it isn't the fastest shooter in its class. But for everyone else, the A7 IV is a rock-solid all-rounder with few glaring weaknesses. It might be the only camera you ever need. History would tell us that the Sony A7 IV, announced in October 2021, could be updated with a 5th-gen model at the end of 2024. Sony's typical 3-year product cycle for this line of mirrorless camera. Of course, we don't know that for sure. And until a potential successor comes, the A7 IV remains one of the best mirrorless cameras around for the money. Leading retailers are selling the A7 IV for closer to $2,000, $2,000, $3,500, and for that price, you're still getting superb autofocus performance. Although the pricier Sony A7 RV stepped things up with an AI autofocus chip and improved subject detection. You're also getting a lovely blend of photo and video skills. 33 megapixel stills versus the typical 24 megapixel in rival models still be launched today, plus an accomplished 4K video performance. even if there's better elsewhere. If you love photography and video, then the A7 IV offers excellent bang for buck. The rest of this review remains as previously published.